I've been on record multiple times saying this, so this is just technically second win nature. I honestly believe, top to bottom, the Big 12 is college football's best conference. Not in terms of personnels or coaches or even talent-wise, but just the broad spectrum of what is college football resides in the heartland of the Big 12. And so last week I made a video talking about the future, especially with 4 new teams joining the party. But I left out one team, and a lot of people seem to have some problems with it. So I said I'd make my own one-off video. This is that one-off video talking about what should we expect from Colorado in 2024. But if you are new here, welcome on into the channel, people. My name is Cole Thompson. I'm a radio show host based in Houston, and I talk college football daily. I get it. The season's come to a close. Best of luck to Michigan. Happy trails to you, Jim Harbaugh, in your future endeavors with the NFL. But it's the off season, and this is my time to shine. I'm here to keep you entertained throughout the next several months, recap in 2023. I'll look ahead at 2024 and a bunch of other nonsense. So if this is your daily dose of college football that you need to survive, might I recommend you smash that subscribe button down below. Leave a comment telling me your thoughts on Colorado. Where do they improve? Are they going to be a team to monitor in the Big 12? Is Deion in over his head? What's your thoughts on that? Tell your friends, your family, your mortal enemies, best of bros, college football aficionados, and Colorado Buffalo faithful everywhere about this channel, because we are on the race to become the #1 YouTube show talking college football daily. Continue to follow me on social media at Mr. Cole Thompson. That way, conversations surrounding our favorite sport never have to stop flowing. Okay, so Colorado last year really kind of caught your attention early on. And you know what? That was the media problem. Here's the problem that we have right now when it comes to Colorado. Real fast. Good overall baseline for Deion Sanders in year 1. I'm just going to throw that out there. A lot of people want to go ahead and say he underachieved, and a few other people are going to say he's in over his head. I politely decline to think either. But here's the problem when it comes to Colorado. We have no middle ground. You either have to be so extreme to one side or you immediately are on the opposing spectrum. It's like literally politics these days where you have to think one way or immediately your brain goes to the other one. So for most people, they would say Deion's in over his head. This is a former Hall of Famer that is bored with his life and decided to go ahead and micromanage his kid's persona. So he hitches his wagon with them, gets them down to Jackson State, and now they're doing big-time things in the Big 12, but he's not that good of a coach. And then there are the people who say, well, you are stupid. Deion is one of the best. Deion is about ready to turn Colorado into a bouldering dominant force in the Big 12, and they're going to be a team that nobody wants to play on Saturdays. And then there's the middle ground, which nobody seems to care to be in that part, except for yours truly. And there are a few other people out there that I would see to agree with the statement. Colorado made enough improvements this offseason to where you do expect better results. But I'm not ready to go ahead and call them anything more than just another team in the Big 12. That's not an insult. That's not an insult. Not every year will you see your favorite roster find a way to make it to the college football playoff. In fact, there will be some years where you will actually only have that be your one-time presence. That's just the case, people. And I do think that Deion Sanders can be that coach. I do believe that the fact that he is a former player does carry a little bit of weight when it comes to recruiting. I do believe that there are people who gravitate towards Prime's coaching style, and they're going to want to play underneath him. And there are people who are going to want to work with Deion. I do believe all of that. I just don't believe that you have to immediately say, dumpster fire of a coach or can't miss next big time Nick Saban 2.0. There is a middle tier, and there's a middle tier with this roster. You made some good moves in the transfer portal. You went out and you added in better offensive linemen. Your offensive line could not be any worse than what it was last year. 50-plus sacks allowed. You had one of the best passers in college football in Deion Sanders, and you have really nothing to show for it. You upgraded at wide receiver. Will Shepard is a name that not a lot of people are going to know, but if you watched SEC football, you actually have probably at least heard him one time. Last 2 years, #1 receiver at Vanderbilt. He gets to come in, replace some of the production that's going off to the NFL, and he gets to be a compliment alongside Dylan Edwards and Travis Hunter, not to mention for whoever else is returning. They also went and they brought in 5-star offensive lineman Jordan Seaton. There's a rule in this business. if you can get the younger talent, you always take the younger talent. And it's not because you don't think that veterans can't offer value. The fact that they were able to go get guys such as the player from the University of Houston, I'm blanking on the top of my name, Tyler Johnson, then they were also able to go ahead and bring in guys such as Yakari Walker from UConn, and they also brought in Tremoy Mater from Cincinnati and Khalil Benson from Indiana. They went out and they added in players, but to get a guy like Jordan Seaton, this is your baseline for the future. You're basically saying that this is going to be our elemental force that carries a ton of weight when it transpires over to the likes of our future endeavors. And that's exactly what you're getting with the 5-star talent that can play left tackle, right tackle, interior offensive lineman. He is a yes, sir, go ahead and grab your shovel and pail and get to work type of mentality guy. And that's part of your offensive line. So you brought that in. That doesn't mean that overnight you're going to be this resounding roster that's able to pull off upsets. You'll get a few. Make no mistake about this. When the Big 12 schedule is officially released, I will do an entire video of it because I love the Big 12. But I will say, you're going to get some upsets next year. And it's because of who you have a quarterback. Deion Sanders is not a feel-good story anymore. He is a player on the come-up with absolutely the mentality and the physical tools that scouts will salivate over. He has that. But he can't do it alone. And they can't ask him to do it alone because you're not asking quarterbacks in the SEC to be a one-man wrecking crew. We didn't just ask J.J. McCarthy to drag the likes of Michigan over the threshold and to a national title. We didn't ask just Michael Penix Jr. to be doing everything and anything. He did, but he also had a lot of help. And so that's where you look at Deion Sanders. It's great to have a quarterback, but this isn't the NFL where one exceptional player will transcend your entire roster. He'll turn a few games from losses into wins, and I absolutely believe that. But there also is the part of you still are recruiting. You're still bringing in names via the portal. You don't know what this roster's cohesion is going to be like. And you also had a little bit of turnover with the coaching staff. There still are so many questions when it comes to Colorado. So, what is an actual winning season for the Buffaloes? Funny story. We went through this last year. Does anyone remember this part of the conversation? Well, I do. Because if I remember saying that Deion going into next year just has to double the win total from the year prior. And if he does that, you're already seeing progress in the right direction. It was not hard to accomplish. They did it in the first 2 weeks. But their preseason win total was 3.5. That's 4 wins. They got to 4 wins. Now, they started off 3-0 and went 4-8 down the stretch, 1-8 down the stretch, but that's neither here nor there. The bottom line is that they got that win total. Preseason win total going into next year is 5.5. So 6. Bowl eligibility to me is honestly a winning season because if you're only showing that you are improving, losses are turning into wins, close calls are actually leaning in your favor rather than against you, and you're able to close out games. Usually, if you're able to have these type of performances, you're probably playing in close call matchups, and eventually that's going to get a little stale. You're actually closing things out. You're guiding yourself to a 10-point victory. You're able to hold your own against other lower tier teams in the Big 12, and then you're out of conference schedule too. If you get to 6 wins, let's just say 7-5. Is the total. And you get 2 upset victories in the process, and you're middle of the pack. You're right alongside the Iowa States, and we'll throw in the West Virginias and the Houstons and the Baylors and the TCUs. To me, that's a good season. You got the quarterback. You've seen the purpose and the sense of direction moving forward. You have a good play caller with your offense, and you trust that your defense did its job, even though you lost both your offensive coordinator to a brand new school as a head coach, and Charles Kelly decided to head back down to the plains of Auburn. Regardless of any of that, the fact is, if you're able to get that version, and Shedeur plays up to his mind and is in the running for all Big 12 players, and maybe you see a few games that end up being just like this past year, but against better competition. So you went toe-to-toe with USC last season. Let's say this year you go toe-to-toe with Kansas State. And Kansas State wins, but it comes down to a fourth quarter field goal with 2 minutes left. Sense in the right direction. Those are the things that I'm looking for. I think Colorado can be fine. And as long as you got Deion running the show, you're in good hands. How many times are we going to see a week 3 spectacle between 2 schools that are always sub 500 be on College Game Day? How many times are we going to open up a season on Fox, on CBS, on any major network and see Deion Sanders on our television screen with a roster that was somewhat mediocre the week prior. Happens. And you know what else happens? Recruiting happens. And the NIL collective happens. And people understand we got a coach that can actually sell a program. And as long as he gets the right people calling the shots, we're still in good hands. That's what it comes down to for Colorado people. Deion is a perfect CEO mantra. He sells the school. Now it's about selling to coaches, selling to personnel members. Come here, be a part of something special. Let these kids develop underneath your watch and see how much we can flourish. That's the way that I think Deion has to go about it. And if so, he's in really good hands. I think Colorado can be a team 2, 3, 4 years from now, actually fight for a spot in the college football playoff as an undefeated or a undefeated in conference play Big 12 champion. I believe all of that because they have the guy. They just don't have the roster right now. Colorado could be 7-5, and to me, that's a good season. You're only seeing an increase in wins. But like we always say when it comes to Colorado, you're either all extreme on one side or you're all extreme on the other. So regardless of what I'm saying here, there's going to be a ton of people in the comments already saying he's wrong, he's stupid, or he's made some good points. Colorado's a good team in terms of what they can be moving forward. And they have the right quarterback. They just need to find the rest of the pieces. That's still a little easier said than done, especially going into a brand new conference. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that video. Don't hit the X button yet. Make sure you hit subscribe to keep up with all of our daily content found on Just Saying It and anything else that we post on this channel. Bye.